right, Devils, back with you here on the 19th here, and by request here, and it was close in the polling, but Facebook eked it out with a slight win here. So it's a good choice. There's a lot going on here. Excuse me. So you got to get out to the longer term, right? Obviously, right? So here's just straight. What a run, right? From the initial low down here, from where essentially we go from $20 to $220. Just remarkable. So looking at that, what also note how the Vegas wave catches that. So looking at this, you look here and boy, that's awfully abrupt here to be finishing. But given what follows, I think you've got to put the 1 here, because I can go 1, 2. I can get all the subdivision to play. The wave relationships are very much in line with what you'd anticipate. The brief ABC here, now Grant, looking at the 4 relative to the 2, we're not out of bounds here. It's the abruptness of the 5 relative to the 3. But then, in comparison to the 1, it's kind of what the market is giving you to work with here. Now this is much like the S&P, is just a true V bottom, right? Just perfect V. So looking at that, given the depth, well, that would be the first place. So that's all we got to work with. That's the first thing you'd look for in terms of a possible wave 2, right? On the assumption that we completed an impulse here, and the depth of the retracement, also very common to come back to the prior 3/4 of the degree that preceded it. So, right, so we're coming back to this area here where we have a little bit of high volume. You can see why. It makes sense. That's a reasonable spot to be anticipating the 2, even though we don't quite make the 50, right? We're certainly close enough. And given that's the only retracement you've got to work with here, that seems to be the obvious location. A couple of interesting things to note here. Here's a gap in Facebook that the market has left. These are very rare for a market to leave a gap unfilled, right? That is completely unfilled. We have another one here, which if we keep going, you'd think this is much more likely to get filled. This one could be one for the historians there. That's unlikely to get filled. But that said, now, so if this is a 2 coming off of this, now this gets a little tricky here, because we're not getting a nice, easy, oh, wouldn't it be nice to get this, right? That's just not what we're getting. So we're getting some chop here. So you have to look at this and go, all right, well, just kind of common sense, because it seems to be that's where supply comes into the market. Now, do we have the legs to keep kicking up here? Well, if this is our 2 and we're just first target here, first algo target, right? If this is a front run on the 50, is up here at 270. If it's going to be a true third, right, we're looking for 420, right? If that, push this way up here. If you're going to get a true third out of this 1 relative to that is the 2, well, you're looking way up here at 420, right? Seems hard to believe. Thinking we're hearing that in the 200-ish, 220 is a high. Excuse me. So that I'm just looking at what are the tendencies. So we got to go from the 3-day here. Let's go to the 8-hour and see if we can make sense of it here. Now, all right, so just making the point here that we certainly have a pattern of this being where we get top heavy here. Again, it doesn't imply that we couldn't get through it. So I think because of the impulse here, I think we got to live with this as our 5th of the 1. Now it's abrupt, but clearly we can get an impulse here. So you got to live with this. So enormous gap, right? So here's earnings, right? That this is the earnings bubble up here, and then we come crashing down, and down we go. It gives us our 2. So I think you're stuck with the ABC here. We got to live with that. Now, barring, see here's the alternate scenario. We've gone far enough here, right? So there's the 887. So you have a contender. It's possible we could find ourselves in a flat or running flat, but right now I don't think you need to go there here. Now, if we stall up here, right, and we can't get any legs to go get a third here, if we start to roll over, then I think you're back here looking at this as a likely flat, where we'd have 3 now that we're pushing the upper boundary here. So it remains to be seen, but if you're thinking about on the buy side here, you're stocks are the one asset class where buying breakouts is commonly done, can be consistently done in raging bulls like this. It's not a trade that I would pursue. I'm not a breakout trader per se, right? You got to put. I'm a retracement trader, so this makes me a little uneasy to be. Plus, look, this is just a perfect FU for market makers right here. This is, you can just see what they do here, right? So the people that sold it here, right? Pardon me. It comes down here, and then they come back here just to get you out before they take it down. That's commonly done. You see those kind of wicks like that, you know what happened there. Somebody just got bent over. So ABC into the 2, well, this is where it gets a little tricky. I might have to go even smaller time frame. So coming off of the low. Well, now, one thing that can be helpful here, I do this often with equities because you have all these gaps, which kind of, just throws your eye off. I will often just go to a line chart. So it just helps me kind of see a little bit better here because it's just automatically filling in the gaps, right? So here's the unfilled gap. But then I look at it and go, okay, 1, 2, we got to check if I'm long enough. Looks like there's my 4 up A, B, C. All right, so it helps a little bit. Just, right, if you struggle with all the gaps, right, that go, once you go intraday into an equity, right, you got to deal with all the gaps. Some people, it doesn't bother. I just find that if I'm struggling in the count, it just is easier on my eye. So let me just, having acknowledged that we have this unfilled gap here. All right. I think, so you got to check the length here. So from the length of the 1 here, from the proposed 2, right, I'm just far enough here. So you'd have to go just a little baby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get your 3. There's your impulse in your third. You got to live with the 4, right? Not much there. You got to live with it. I suppose you could go 3. Well, same problem. You'd have to do this as your 3. So you're just stuck with the 4, right? You can't expect perfection in Elliott Wave, right? So you live with the 4. Pretty big kick in the 5. So we can live with the 2. The 3 is just far enough. So this, looking at that, right? So if you were unsure, what's followed here is now forcing you into this count. So you're stuck with that as a 1. Well, this isn't a 3, right? So we know we didn't go 1, 2, 3, right? We can be very clear about that. So if this is going to hold here now, this is 1 ABC into a 2, well, of course, we got to check that, right? Just for the depth of it, it's 50 to the tick, right? So good candidate here for the 2, but that's not our 3. So if this is going to continue to play Elliott with us, we've got a 1, 2 going into the third. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Right. That being said, we'd be looking for certainly much higher targets here. Now, take note here. This is a perfect 50 to the tick, but then here we go deeper. So from this 2 at this degree here in white, we go into this 1. Let's get this here, right? So we break the golden zone. We don't invalidate per. There's a note here. The A pops out here, but then we come back down. So we get our 3-wave structure. Good candidate here for the 2 coming back into. This structure that's just sitting right here, so prior resistance becomes the support. Now it looks like we're starting to go here, but if we're going up for the third, we're still in the 1 of the 3 right, of the 3. Do you follow that? So here's the larger 2, here's the 1 of the 3, here's the 1 of the 3 of the 3. Right, that's why you got to change colors and change degrees, or you'll never be able to keep track of it. Right, so here's your dominant 2 here. We're looking for the 3. That's 1, 2, 1, 2. So if this is going to keep going, we would stay just using the tools that we know can be helpful to us as would relate to wave relationships. All right, so I'm going to stay in the degree that's currently active. If that's my 1, 2 here, well, here's my 1, 6, 1, 8, right? So that would be consistent with. But I've got multiple things going on here. But if this is going to be 1, 2, well, I'm looking for the 3 here. All right, so this would all be up here. So we're looking for a destination up here. 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be the 3, 4. We're looking to complete the 5 of the 3 at this degree. So putting that together, let me scrunch it up a little bit here. Right, so this is the third we're after of this here in white, 1, 2. So let's get that one on top as well and just see how they line up. All right, so there's the. All right, so here's the 1, 6, 1, 8, the larger degree. Here's the smaller degree. So this is you can kind of see a path here. If we're gonna stay strong, we're gonna go up here for the 3, 4. That would potentially now give me the 5 up here of the third. Or we go A, B, C into the 4, and now we're back up looking for the 5, maybe up here at the 261, right? So you kind of see how the whole thing might, oh shit. TradingView, gosh, not my favorite platform. There we go. Okay, so you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets me my 3. So again, is it going to follow that? Well, shit, well, of course we don't know. But you got to lay something out. You got to have a trading plan. Well, if it keeps going here, where are we likely headed? Well, now, of course, we've got multiple, we could be drawing multiple sets of median lines here, but I might just start with something basic here. Looks like I can catch both of these here. So how are we going to do here? Am I going to be reposition? Well, let's see. I could be doing something. Well, I would do it like this. If this is going to hit, then I'm down here doing that, looking for that 4. Perhaps we're coming down. We're going to stay with our channel. Right, so this is my high probability zone for my 3rd at this degree, right? A, B, C down to a 4. Wouldn't that be? Just look what happened here, right? So you'd have that structure here to play with. So the idea is not to, okay, well, I know exactly where Facebook is going. It's, okay, based on what I have right now, if I apply my tendencies, guidelines, typical fib relationships, can I put together a roadmap here that would make sense? If it starts to break down, well, then we're reevaluating, right? What I have and where Elliott Wave helps me is that it's letting me organize what's come before. It's not so much about forecasting the future. It's organizing the past so I can forecast the future. So at least I can put together a plan that would be like, okay, based on what I've got right now that I know, this is all unknown, based on what I know, I've got a reasonable scenario here that would be consistent with Elliott rule set tendencies, fib relationships, channeling, geometry, algo targets. The whole thing kind of fits together. Now, all it would take is that, right? And the whole thing falls apart. Right? Wave counts are constantly changing, right? As the market responds and reveals itself. We don't know what the market's going to do here. For all we know, this is just an AB, and we're going down for a deeper C, and we're going to end up with a running flat. Remember when I started, I said we could have A, B, C. We're going down for a deeper 2. Absolutely nothing says this is inevitable. But right now, based on what I have to work with, there's a roadmap. Okay, I can see how that would all make sense. So what happens is, as we move here, if we get that, well, then the odds that I've got a 3 here just went up dramatically. So now I'm waiting for the 4 to the 5. I'm not necessarily selling the 4. Pardon me, looking to sell the top of the 3 to ride down the 4. If I get the 3, now I have a high degree of confidence of where I am in the count. I'm looking for the 4 to the 5. Same thing. I'm trending higher. I don't want to try and play the short side here. I want to wait and see, do I get the 5 of the 3? And if I do, then what am I looking for? Then I'm looking for the 4 to the 5. These are the trades, right? As an Elliott Wave trader, you're trying to stay with trend. I'll let somebody else play with the ABC that's coming down here. I'm looking for the 4 to the 5. I want the 3, the 5, the next degree up, I want the 5. But all of this, right, really what I want is the big 3. So, and all of this is tied to the big 3, which is what I'm in the midst of, right? I'm looking for the big 3 way the hell up here. I could be, right? That would be a wave relationship relative to the 1, 2. Well, if I do this here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, maybe I'm coming up short here. Maybe this is all. Maybe there's a much bigger kick in the 5th here. Well, we don't know, right? So, but you got to lay something out. So at least I've got a forecast here so I can put together a trading plan. So right now, as I'm approaching this prior structure, I'm not dying to buy that. Again, I'm a retracement trader, not a breakout trader. So if this keeps going, right, I know perfectly well, if that keeps going over the holidays, I'm going to miss that ride. But it's okay. Because assuming we get up here, now I know this is, if that happens, this is what I'm waiting for. Right? Give me the retrace. Remember, I'm a retracement trader. I don't want to buy it when it's going up. I want to buy it when it's going down. Right? In context, right? So are we trending, or is this a retracement? Yeah, I want the push higher because I'm looking for the 5 to complete. lots of potential here to work with options in Facebook, right? Liquid. Oh gosh, is there anything more liquid? Right, plenty of liquidity here. So there lots of, again, next year we're going to open up into option trading. A lot of, which is really where I cut my teeth in this industry. So I've got a deep reservoir of knowledge to pass on here. It just hasn't been something we've done. So much of what when we started, it was focused on crypto. So now, as people are broadening out into other asset classes, we'll bring in all of the option trading as well. Options. It's hard at first, right? But just like anything, you do it enough. It's just another set of tools, right? If you're building a house, you're not going to use just a hammer and a screwdriver and a set of nails, right? You want all the tools as possible. They're just other tools to help you execute, right, the job. All right, so there's 15 minutes. God, I went so damn long in the other one. I think probably we'll stop here. Right, that gives you, a lot of things to chew on here. But right now, as we sit here, I don't see a current trade. I'm just trying to confirm where I am to set up the potential trade here. All right, guys. There you go. All right, that's probably it for the day. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, have a